Hey, I'm Noodle Yeti, and I believe this is a +6 Necrotic Wake from the Brewmaster perspective. I'll be the first to admit, I have no idea what is even going on with Brewmaster. I just kind of push buttons and hope for the best. I know there's some buttons that heal me, like Expel Harm, especially when it's got like multiple stacks or something. I actually wish that would show up on our little combat nameplate right beneath the player, whatever, the player thing or something like that. But anyways, this run went pretty well. We had a little bit of trouble, but we still timed. I actually had a +5 key that I wanted to review because we actually did have some trouble. There were some failures and we ended up not timing, or actually no, I think we barely timed it, but there was still like a group wipe and a lot of failures, and but unfortunately there was no audio, so it would have been really awkward and quiet with me just kind of talking. And I'm not that good with my mic, so you'd be able to hear me breathing, and that's kind of weird. But I think when I'm looking at this, I really don't know what's going on ever with Brewmaster. I know I'm supposed to maintain shuffle, which is cool that I could see that on my nameplate. I know I'm supposed to stagger when or not stagger, purify when my little bar beneath my energy gets red. And anytime I'm low health, I need to use abilities that heal me or something like that. Like, Expel Harm, my Vivify proc, and I believe I'm taking a talent that actually makes my Transcendence heal me for 10% of my health every single time. And I believe a part of the same talent makes it so that way I can Transcendence back to the place I started from. So it's essentially a 20% heal, where I can move myself either away from the pack or around the pack or something, and end up with 20% more health. I actually really love this class though, it's a lot of fun. Or this particular spec. Actually, I like Mistweaver as well in keys. I like Fist Weaving, but I've never played Windwalker. One of the things I will say is I'm actually very uncomfortable on Brewmaster. It feels like the damage is a lot less spiky in comparison to almost every other tank I play. But it still feels like it takes a lot of damage. Like my health is constantly draining all the time, and it feels really difficult to maintain or keep myself well, and I don't know when I'm actually in danger yet. But when I do nail that, like that tank mechanic right there, my health bar barely moved and it's still not moving. It feels like when you are Brewmastered and you manage the incoming damage appropriately, you don't ever worry. You don't have to think about anything. It's just, you don't even notice it. Like that right there, I used my, what's it called, the Celestial Brew before or after the mechanic, when I should have used it beforehand. I think one thing I am going to change is there's actually the other hero talent build. I actually started off with that one, and I actually prefer it to this one. This one I believe is the Shadow. I don't remember the names of them. But basically I know them as the one that only has one Celestial Brew charge and the one that has two. And other than that, I have no idea what they do. I'm actually going to go back to the one that has two Celestial Brew charges, because I like that a lot more. I think what that'll do is it will create the Celestial Brews to be smaller in shield size, because I'm not purifying as much damage between them. But it will allow me to have it up more often for boss mechanics. Or any kind of trash like tank busters or whatever.
Stitch flesh will be irked to know you destroyed his prize creation. But I am sure he would gladly take your limbs as repayment.
I'm not sure how I feel about this routing in here, having to then cut across to fight this really small pack of 3 after that other pack. I think I'd like to go about it a different way. I know the pack in the middle is a lot and it can be very dangerous, so I kind of want to look at that in MDT and take a look at it to see what makes it dangerous and how we can counter that, or how we can help counter that as a tank. And see if maybe it becomes equivalent to one of the other packs. I think over here, on my other tanks, I'm always the one, I just focus the Marauder and interrupt him myself. Because there's so many times when people just don't interrupt anything at all, ever. And I feel like right here, in this particular run, it would have been best for me to just take care of it myself. Now, I don't know how dangerous this pack is going to be in the future on hierarchy levels than this. But using the orb here actually seems like a really great way to start off the damage on this pack. However, I think in the future I am going to have to figure out either how I can use my... Actually, I think I can skip this as a monk. I don't know about any other particular class. I don't know if, like, say for a Demon Hunter, you could use Sigil of Change to grip them all in, and then your Misery right under that, so that way they sit there so you could walk by. But with Monk, what you could do is you can get close enough to Paralysis, and then use your ROP on one of the non-elites to move them. And I think if I remember right, back in Shadowlands, you actually could do that. Because I used to always run with a Windwalker Monk. I think at the time I was a Guardian Druid and a... Oh, Shadowlands. Yeah, Guardian Druid and Prop Paladin. I always ran with a Windwalker Monk, and pretty much every key. But I think that's probably going to end up being a pack that you skip, especially, I think, at the 12 plus level. I'm listening to a lot of people who are doing 12s and up, and they're talking about how just going from 11 to 12 is insane, is such an insane difficulty jump.
Are you so eager to share your underling's fate? Your vaunted...
Now in this run, I went very safe, pulling only like... I tried to only pull about one pack at a time, except for right at the beginning. I think I pulled a couple at a time, I can't remember. I know, we just watched it, but I already forgot. And this really bothers me. I really love to play. I love to pull big, love to pull multiple packs. And it just feels so... It feels really bad having to... go slow and one pack at a time. It just doesn't feel good. That's one thing I didn't realize. So right here we got hit with a Frostbolt volley and the debuff just ran off, but we'll back it up here a second, I guess. Where's my mouse? See if we can actually just use the keys. You can see up in the top right we have the blue debuff and it falls off, and you can see that our, I think we, at the time we even had, when it went off, we had our, what's our personal, like, dispel magic defensive, I don't know what it's called, but it was on cooldown, and I didn't realize that it didn't remove those debuffs or prevent them from being applied while it was active. I don't know if I'm making sense here. Like, you know how, like, when you use AMS, and if something's going to hit you with a magic debuff, it just doesn't apply? I would have thought that it would be like that. And that was a terrible use of Transcendence. I Transcendenced right into... I put down my Transcendence in the puddle, Oh my goodness, I never saw how close I was to dying there. That was crazy. I was like, I was floating on the edge of death there. Let's check that out. Why did that happen? Let's go back a little bit here. Alright, so we pull everything. What cooldowns do we have? Nothing. So we just go into this double pull with nothing here. Okay, I drop my Transcendence in the bad thing. I try to heal myself. It literally does nothing because it's in the bad. And I use my Celestial Brew to get into... Okay, so I made a terrible play there. Alright. My shield just gets instantly eaten by the puddle. That's wild. Okay, I played that absolutely terribly. I need to figure out how to at least have a CD going into that, like my Ox or the fortifying brew, I think it's called. Maybe I'll have to pull differently. I don't know. Or I'll just have to hold my CDs at some point, or maybe if I actually just send, because it was so close with the Ox, maybe if I just send my cooldowns on cooldown in this particular dungeon, it should line up. If everything's going smoothly, that is. Holy crap, dude. Wow. Yet again, more bad. I mean, I'm assuming what I'm seeing is bad play, because my stagger here is sitting in red forever. Like, we go in, I thought I hit my Ox there. When I tab targeted, I hit Ox at the same time, but I guess I hit Ox before I tab targeted, so I actually don't have a cooldown right here. I'm just sitting at red stagger for so long. I'm actually surprised I didn't die during this. I don't know how I didn't. A full stagger bar, and you're sitting at... Wow.
It is too far away.
Either this healer is a Chad or Brewmaster is broken. Like, what in the world? Sitting at like less than 10% health for that long with a red stagger bar. That dude must have been like just pummeling me with like heals. Like, he's disc, so I don't know what he'd be doing. Maybe he threw his penance at me, or he just kept spamming flash heal on me or something. I don't know. But he did a good job.
The sky, then I shall answer in kind.
Foolish paragon! It is too far.
So I was pinging the Discharge Danima. This is something I noticed, is that people don't pick that one up. And me being blind, I don't see that the shaman's running at it, and I continue to type and ping it, even though clearly the dude's helping to go get it. But either way, it's something I noticed people don't pick it up. Probably because that one wasn't there in Shadowlands, or I don't know, maybe... I honestly don't know. But it's really good to have, especially if you want to use it on this boss when it spawns the ads. As soon as the mages come out, you pop it. I think I use mine on this particular pull. And it will interrupt them and just bring them in while dealing damage to everything else. Typically, I like to save mine for when we go up to the Necropolis. One of the... I like to immediately open up the Necropolis with a big double pull. The Pat is usually about to walk in front of the back left pack, and there's really only one main tank buster in that pack. So if you pull them together once they're in front of each other, and then you use your orb, it'll continuously interrupt things like Gore Splatter and the Drain Fluids until the orb runs out, obviously. But usually by then, after your DPS are excited, so they pop every single CD and everything just dies really fast. But in this run, I don't do that. I'm a little scared. I feel like I'm taking a lot of damage. Like this is, I remember in the run, I felt like this was exhilarating. Not quite Death Knight exhilarating, but still exhilarating.
Bone pain will reduce you to dust.
It is, I will admit, a little demoralizing when I'm pushing so many buttons to heal myself, and then I look over at the meters and I'm not even at 200,000 healing done. Like, 200,000 healing per second. It's like I'm hitting my Expel Harm, I'm hitting my Vivify casts, I'm Transcendencing, I'm Celestial Brewing, and it's just like laughable. It's very demoralizing, it makes it feel very pointless, but it still feels really good to do. Still feels very engaging. Yeah, you can see me look at it, I'm like, only 250k? Because I remember that fight felt painful.
We cannot rest until these invaders are purged from our skies.
We have all the corpses we need, Stitch Flesh. Prepare to strike at the next.
And funnily enough, that's not even the most painful part of this dungeon. We still have, I think Stitch Flesh is even worse than that for me.
Parts for my new creation have arrived at last.
Gosh, that Death Knight animation just looks so cool. The big scythe that just flies through and just... I get it, like reaps them like you're... Yeah. But it just looks cool. So if you don't know that gore splatter, you need to interrupt that. Drain fluids, you don't have to interrupt it. You wait until it reaches the end of its cast and turns green if you're using the default nameplates, and then you could use a stun or some sort of CC and it'll just stop the cast. Of course, if it's on a caster or your healer, they'll probably cry about it, but, you know, forget them. You stopped it, you saved your interrupt for something important. But that's only something you need to know if you're going to do things like double pulls. So that way you could save it in case you need to interrupt two different gore splatters and... But I mean, after all, you do have 5 people in the group, and there's usually only like 1 interrupt per pack at this top part. You can see that gore splatter went off, and it took about 20% of everyone's HP except for me and the Death Knight. Granted, mine's staggered, but that's the most important one, because the drain fluids only affects 1 person, while meanwhile gore splatter hits everybody. And we don't even have fortified yet, so next week, if you start missing gore splatters, that's probably going to start wiping your group, even at this level. Now I know something I was looking at in this particular key was using that what's he called? The frontal on the crafter that damages the first mob between it. Throw cleaver, that one. It doesn't actually look like it deals damage to the affix, which is very disappointing. I think something I'm going to have to do for Brewmaster is actually create weak ores to put on my little personal resource display. I think it's a shame that we only have stagger there, or shuffle there. That's not even something you really need to worry about, because if you're throwing your kegs, you're kicking, you're spinning, it's gonna be up and it's gonna be active. You shouldn't ever have to worry about that. I wish they actually had other things up there that were more important.
I need a target.
But I'm not quite sure what. Like, I think at the beginning I said I wanted something up there, but I already forgot. Oh yeah, and then on the nameplates themselves, I wish we could see in the default UI our fire debuff. So we know when we're taking we know when we're taking 10% damage or less damage. Or like if wait, I think maybe I just have the option turned off for personal cooldowns. I will admit though, this hero talent, the single Celestial Brew heroes talents, the kind of like passive damage thing where like throws those like green things out and you start like punching everything in front of you. It does look pretty cool. Now, okay, I actually want to look at that. Both healer deaths. So we get to this one. What happens? Space pause. So who's targeted? So we got the Death Knight and the Hunter targeted. Let's see what happens here. Where's the healer? It looks like the healer is that the healer on top of me? No, that couldn't oh, that's volume. I wanted to zoom in. Is there a zoom function? Where's the enhance button? Oh well, whatever. He dies. So I think he was in between the two. Let's see if we could see a body here. Yep, he was in between the two. Okay, that makes sense. Now let's go to the next one where he dies. He comes back. We're fighting. Let's see, okay, he's dead there, so we'll go back again.
Embrace who you
Morbid fixation. It's on... Oh, he dies to the fixate. Okay. Alright, well that makes sense. I was worried that, because it took me a second to get aggro at the start there on the one I was standing on. I thought maybe he got meleeed to death, but it wasn't my fault this time. Oh yeah, these packs right here, I'm just like sitting in red stagger the entire time. Like I remember like being worried, like, am I gonna survive this? Like, 'cause I'm just not generating nearly enough.
Not have a target.
Purify. Oh, I didn't even realize that. Did you see that? Watch our stagger. We have red stagger. We have touch of death. We use it, and instantly stagger is cleared. That is wild. I didn't even realize Touch of Death did that. I thought just Touch of Death would kill things when it lit up. So that's actually really useful to know. So I could possibly end up saving Purifying Brew in the future, where I'm getting low on health or something, or it's building up, it's a full stagger bar or something. Just Touch of Death one of the small mobs or something. Or the affix, because you can do that. That's a cheat. Because Purifying Brew only gets rid of half of your stagger.
No! Now I have to rebuild those two from scratch! It seems I must take matters into my own. I can't wait to put your corpse to you. I'll have you in stitches!
Dang. That's a lot of damage. Yeah, this is the boss, or this is the fight where it hurt me a lot.
Imbecile! I'm the one who made you!
And this whole time I actually don't even realize that I'm targeting the wrong mob. Like right now I'm targeting Stitchflesh, but at some point I realize I'm not even targeting him anymore.
open your mind to the whispers.
Yeah, I think it was right there. I was like, wait, why was I targeting that?
One was my favorite!
And then another thing I did on a lower Necrotic Wake was I learned that I can use my, I want to say my freedom, but it's not, I mean, it is a freedom in essence. It's the Tiger's Lust. I can use my Tiger's Lust to help out the person who has the fixate, but I completely forgot this time around. And I think it lines up perfectly, actually, where the fixate is a 30-second cooldown, and so is Tiger's Lust. I mean, the ad, you're supposed to keep the ad alive, so that way you can use its hook to stop the fixate. And something else I've noticed that people don't really know is this meat hook, the hook that I was literally just talking about. The first one you use to pull the boss down, the second one you use to stop his morbid fixation, and for the third one, do not aim it at the boss, aim it where he will be on the stage. Because by the time it goes off, the boss will be on the stage at that spot. So it will just instantly pull him right back down, so you have no downtime whatsoever. I can't really show that because the group didn't do it, but I remember back in the day that's how it was. Oh, yeah, actually I can, because this is why I remembered it right now, is because this paladin did that. The third one came out and he just instantly just aimed it at the stage where the boss would be. Wait, not a paladin. What am I talking about? Who was that? Not a paladin in the group.
Your flesh holds such potential. So much material to work with. My greatest was yet to come.
Yeah, and here, because that fight was so painful, I wanted to see, like, how much did the healer heal me? And I was actually surprised to see that he barely did anything, or that I wasn't even his number one. That it was actually himself. I don't even understand. I don't understand how that works. It's like, who is healing me if it hurt that bad? This fight, yet again, it hurt a lot. It just feels like this dungeon as a tank, every single boss just hurts more, or at least as a Brewmaster, feels like every single boss just hurts more and more and more.
Embrace it.
As you can see, I'm just constantly getting up to red stagger. A part of that will be negated by gear, because I think at the beginning, if you saw, I'm 599, barely under 600, but all that'll do is just make it hurt a little later. Like at 12s. At least that's what I'm hearing from all the other tanks at that level.
Enough of you.
That right there, I think that was a bad timing. I think I need to pay more attention to... Oh, why did I back up so far? That was bad timing on my part for Transcendence. You saw I just wasted it. I was already at full health. The healer caught me up, and I popped it when I shouldn't have. So I wasted a 45-second 20% heal. That feels pretty bad. But yeah, you can see I'm just sitting there waiting for my Purifying Brew to come up, and I'm still at red stagger after I use it. Like, this is just absolutely wild. Like, now, if we actually look to see what buttons I'm pushing between them, Blackout Kick, Heal, Breath of Fire, and then Tiger's Palm. Okay, so I am actually using my buttons to reduce its cooldown in between the ones that are actually for healing and DR. But when, I need to start thinking, when would it be more beneficial to hit Tiger's Palm to reduce the CD on Purifying Brew than to heal myself? Okay, so that time it did not reduce stagger. Did you see that? So we're going to be at red stagger. We target the guy. We hit our thing and it didn't reduce it. So maybe we cannot use... Either something happened that I'm not aware of that reduced, or that got rid of my stagger last time, or we cannot use the ad to clear our stagger. One or the other. But yeah, I think from this run, I want to think about when I should use healing spells versus Tiger Palm to reduce my Purifying Brew cooldown. And I need to pay more attention to where my health is actually at before I use Transcendence. Because that was a complete waste there at the end. Well, anyways, thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye for now.